Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to a new Healthy Hustle today. I'm super excited for what we have in store for you. We have the beginning of a series that is going to talk specifically about our nervous system or our nerve system. How do our nerves function? How do they work? In what way is this electrochemical machine benefited by New Earth products? And how can we help it improve? Maybe do the things that it needs to do better. Well, who better to ask than Stuart Martin? Dr. Stuart Martin has been a doctor of chiropractic for quite some time, and he knows all about the nerve system. Why? Doctor of chiropractic, nerve system, that doesn't make any sense. Turns out, I didn't know this, but that's what they do. Their function is not necessarily your skeleton and how your bones work together. It's how your nerves function together. And it's a matter of getting the bones to be in the right place so they don't mess with your nerves. I think there's a more intellectual way to say that. So I'm going to turn the time over to Stuart Martin to talk to us a little bit about the nerve system.
There's a nerve system, and there's a circulatory system, and there's alimentary system, digestive system. There's a reproductive system, and on and on. All these different systems of the body. However, if you really think about human beings living in a world of biological imperatives, and I'll come back to that term and what I mean by that in a moment, and the human being as a living, breathing organism that is impacted right here now today by, what they do for work or how they make a living, how they're going to feed themselves. The history of what they're living through and living in, and as well that how they communicate with others, that we're creatures of language. You think about all of that, and you start to look at how the body functions in a world of labor and history and language. You start to recognize a few things. And one is, as I like to say, it's very likely we have only one system that matters in our body, and that is the nerve system. And in the sense that, as other people would say, oh, there's the circulatory system, there's the integumentary system or skin, but let's look a little deeper at that and see what we find. Number one, we're going to start to notice that, how I like to look at it anyway, and maybe a way that's like halfway, instead of like all these different systems that somehow have to coordinate, to where I see it, which is we have one system, the nerve system, and every other aspect of human biology is a function of that nerve system. I think that's a more accurate way to look at it. And as we dive into a little bit more of how our products can benefit our nerve system, let's talk first about biological imperatives, as I was mentioning earlier. I think it's important in a world where we are literally barraged by information about health and taking care of ourselves and what we should be doing, what we should be eating, what we shouldn't be eating. There just is literally a barrage of information that people have access to. And I like to point out that it's important that we start to distinguish the difference between what's important and what's imperative. And so I like to say very simply, when it comes to our health, everything is important. getting proper rest, getting proper exercise, clean water, vital, healthy relationships. Of course, having a fundamental basis of micronutrition, of which I believe our New Earth products are the unparalleled source, in my experience. Having high quality macronutrients, meaning unlike what we get of benefit from our New Earth products, which is the nutrients we need in very small amounts to stay as healthy as possible. We can look at the other side of that, of macronutrients, getting the best source of nutrients that we need in very large amounts to stay as healthy as possible, like fats, like proteins, carbohydrates. And that's where choosing organically, as we, of course, do at New Earth with our micronutrition sources. Not more important, more imperative. Coming back to the topic at hand today, our nerve system has an enormous need for oxygen, enormous need. And in fact, the energy that is generated in our nerve system through the process of cellular respiration generates enough energy to power a 20-watt light bulb. So that old cliche that you often see in the cartoons of someone walking around with a light bulb above their head, there's accuracy to that. We literally produce enough juice, electricity, to power a 20-watt light bulb. And that's all happening through cellular respiration and the electrical process that is our nerve system. So, and this usually stumps my patients and practice members, I described vitamin O, or oxygen, as the second biological imperative. So what, pray tell, could be more imperative than oxygen? And it points to that my premise that our nerve system is, in fact, the only system in the body, is accurate. You cannot live for even 4 seconds without the flow of information, or what I call vitamin I, the impulses that go up and down your nerve system to the tune of trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of nerve impulses every hour up and down your nerve system. That is the first biological imperative. So right there you have it. The first imperative, once again, not more important than anything else. It's just the most vital, the most imperative is our flow of intelligence up and down our nerve system. And in fact, before we get into what that might mean with regard to our products and the function of that nerve system, let's look a little bit more succinctly at how that process works. So my hand right here is your brain, okay? And we're going to make my arm your spinal column. For you to be as healthy as possible, this pathway must be kept clear as early as the birth process. Childhood slips and falls, or what I like to call in adulthood, the 3 T's of traumas, stressful thoughts, and toxins. We can develop what we call in the world of chiropractic interference in the nerve system, or subluxation. That's the $50 word us chiropractors throw around. And that means simply interference in the nerve system, and interference to the flow of intelligence. And if you have that interference, instead of a fast, complete flow of information up and down your nerve system, it's fast and it's staticky. It's fast and it's staticky. It's like the brain and the body aren't as well connected. So let's look at what this might all mean with regard to our New Earth products. If, for instance, our nerve system, if I'm giving you an accurate model, it's accurate to me. And the only system is the nerve system, and the rest is all a function of the nerve system, then the nerve system is there like, wow, that algae's good. But wait a minute, I don't have a mouth. How am I gonna make that algae of use to me? And so the nerve system rightly says, well, of course, I don't have a mouth, but my fibers go to this chewing apparatus here. So let's put some algae in here and swallow it and send it into the furnace that is the stomach. Once again, if this is the case, that this digestive process is simply a function of the nerve system, then the nerve system quite rightly puts the algae into the body so that it can be digested.
Wow, great stuff. Great stuff. Dr. Stuart Martin, thank you so much. That is a fun way, folks, to introduce this concept. And there's a lot more to be had. So stay tuned for Dr. Stuart Martin's segments in our Healthy Hustle, talking about how you can have a healthier nervous system.